Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Sorry we are late. The power went out. We had a storm come through, power and internet went out, and it wasn't expected to come back on for a few more hours, but we have it now, so we're just going to go live and hopefully it doesn't go back out. It's still kind of stormy outside. Thank you for your patience, for anyone who's still here. And we'll try and we have a lot to get through tonight. Just some interesting stuff that we've been kind of keeping our eye on that we'd like to bring to you guys. Before we get started, I'm just gonna double check. Aaron, how do I look? Am I laggy? Do I look all right now still?
You look great.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like lagging or anything.
No, it looks good
Um,
now.
okay, let me just double check here.
Yep, looks like we are live.
Looks like we are live. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right, cool. So thank you for all that are here and everyone who had some patience with us. A few quick things before we get started. The tickets for our Hawaii conference are on sale at journeytotruth.online. That link is below, and you can. We haven't actually announced the lineup yet. That's coming very, very soon. We're still working out some of the kinks and details, and once all that's ironed out, then we will make an official post. But tickets are selling, and there's only, I would say, less than 60 spots left at this point. So if you're interested, you can get that below in the description. Journey to Truth online. A week in Hawaii, April 20th, 2026, on the Big Island, and we're going to be swimming with dolphins, going to some sacred sites. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, how's it going over there, Aaron?
Going well. Going
All right.
good.
Let me get my screen organized here and then we'll start going. So, this I don't know if any have you been paying attention to any of the like little nuggets that have been leaking about Mars?
I no, I don't. You seem to see a lot of stuff that I don't somehow. I think it's because you're on X way more than me, because it
Uh,
seems like that's where most of this stuff is, I
well, a
think.
lot of it's not
No,
like
I
super. Well, the one thing that is public is here. I'll share it in a second, but I just need to pull the Zoom call back up. One sec.
haven't. You let the kitty out.
Yeah. Um.
Nice.
Anyway, so I'll share my screen. I'm going to pull up these notes here, but actually, what started it was when we interviewed Carrie Cassidy last, just recently. She sent me a link
Mm.
to a pilot episode that her and Bill Ryan filmed in 2012 for
Which I just watched this morning, and it's amazing. And I just uploaded to our Patreon
right.
for
So
that.
it's a pilot episode called Shadow Operations, and it's about the Mars programs, the secret space programs, jump rooms, teleportation. But it's done really well, actually. And
Mm.
there's some classic interviews in there. There's Andrew Basiago, Robert Dean, the old David Wilcock when he was super
Yeah.
young, a couple,
2009 David Wilcock. Yeah.
right, a couple others. And I watched it twice, actually. I watched it by myself and I watched it with some friends, and I thought it was excellent. So, what we're
It
going to
was
do at the end of this live today, if the internet and power and everything's still good, we're going to do a little watch party. It's a 45-minute pilot episode. So, when we're done, I'm just going to hit play on that and then we can watch it together. And it'll just be on here for the audience to view. The link will be below in the description as well, which I didn't add, but I will add if you want to go watch it later on Carrie Cassidy's website. But that's what got me going. So she sent me that, and it's about all this Mars stuff, right? And then right after I watched that, I found it ironic that Y-Files did a whole episode on Andrew
I
Basiago.
I did watch that too. That was really good. Except for
Yeah,
when at the end when he says he doesn't believe Andrew Basiago and he kind of tries to debunk some of it.
which which is very unfortunate
Yeah.
because um, it's a credible testimony. But I also noticed that, and if he's watching, hey, how's it going? Because we also do have a cameo in that episode, by the way, at the very end. Um,
Another like 3 second cameo. It's the second
yeah,
one. We had one in a Secret Space Program episode like last year, sometime
right.
last year.
Yes. So actually, can you see that screen right now, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's our cameo.
Yeah.
It's a clip. There's no audio to it, but it's a clip from our episode with Daryl James and Rebecca Rose from a few years ago, actually. But
Yeah, that's an old one.
what I found interesting was that uh, so whenever he was covering Andrew's story, he was getting some of the details wrong just because I've listened to Andrew's story a bunch. And then
Yeah, of
it's been brought to my attention that he doesn't actually do his own research. He has a team that like feeds
course.
him this team that feeds him this research. Because I was listening to a couple times along the way, I'm like, well, no, that's not what happened. Like that's not accurate. So
Yeah.
and then at the end he tries to debunk it. But I'm like,
Right.
who's doing the real debunking here? Is it this team of researchers that's just telling him what to say, or is it actually him?
It's the researchers.
Right. And
I
I'm like,
mean,
well, if he knew Andrew's story, he would have never covered it the way he did because he got some of the stuff wrong.
right.
And I found it very interesting and disheartening. But I also found I found it interesting the fact that he was covering Project Pegasus and the time travel and Mars programs and Jump Room. And then the next episode right after that was a 4 hour right here. Project Pegasus, Child Time Soldiers is what he covered. And then the next episode right after that was almost a 4 hour compilation of Mars and the Planet of Secrets. And it's all of his episodes and information compiled about Mars. Whether or not they're debunking it or not, I still feel like it's putting that seed out there. So I
Right.
just watched the Carrie Cassidy thing, Shadow Operations. Then this pops up, and I watched it. I didn't watch the second one because it's super long. I was like, why is he? And the way he debunked it too, it's like it's like so matter of factly. Like I don't know, it's just
Yeah, it didn't even make it's just like he basically just said, well, Andrew's just making a bunch of fantastical claims that don't really have any evidence backing them up or that prove it. So it's not, so that means it's not true. Like that's basically what it amounted to, as far as I could tell.
right. And
Which is not true. He has tons of evidence in my, if you
well,
actually,
and yeah, that's just it. Like, so he's not the one doing the real
he's
research.
the talking head. He's the
Right.
voice, the face, and they're just giving him a script to read off of. That's it.
Yeah, and then like so I also noticed, so I was like, man, because what it does is it's actually really deceptive because they cover it so well that it
Mhm.
sucks you in. You're into the story,
Right.
like, holy shit, this stuff's real. And at the end they go, psych,
And
no.
it's a bunch of
Yeah.
BS and too
And
bad. It's
but
not real.
that's like an actual attack on the heart. Like it
Oh
feels
yeah.
like a knife in the heart at the end of that. And then you're confused. And why even go through all that trouble with this fantastic production value and all this time and effort to just debunk it at the end? But it's not even
Right.
a credible debunk because
Right.
the research itself in the first place isn't actually credible.
Well, you know what
So
it is. You know what it
yeah,
is it's because it gets, like you said, it gets you invested. So it tricks people into thinking they just watched a credible kind of like documentary that's done really well on a subject, and then he debunks it. So then, even though that's not what it is, it's just presented really well. He speaks really well. It's presented well. But like you said, he got a bunch of the information wrong, and it actually isn't well done when you look at the factual stuff about it.
right,
It's not well done actually at all. It's just presented very well. So it tricks people into thinking that, and then when he debunks it, in quotes, doesn't actually debunk it, but tricks people into thinking he debunks it. What does that do? Now everyone thinks they just watch everything they need to watch on a subject, and it's been debunked. I don't need to look any further. Drop
right,
it. Done.
right.
Right. It's a
So
perfect way to get everyone to like shut off an entire person, subject, whatever, you know?
and then yeah, exactly. So then I noticed he just a short popped up, one of his YouTube shorts popped up, and it was him saying, "Don't waste your time watching the Joe Rogan Terrence Howard interview. You won't learn anything."
Really.
And it was like basically saying it's nonsense. It's just a waste of time. You won't learn anything.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I'm like, why would he go out of his way to make a short to tell people not to watch something?
Right.
I'm like, there's so clearly an agenda behind the Y files. Like it's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at this. It's another one of these things. It comes out of nowhere and it's TV level production, super high quality production. So clearly there's this whole A lot of money, big team, a lot of money backing it out of nowhere. To
Right.
me, that's
And
already a red flag
it
in most cases.
virtually millions of viewers and subscribers too.
Immediately millions of subscribers and viewers out of nowhere.
Right. So, I mean, if there was ever,
Yeah, there's to me, there's like this is like a deep state, proxy thing. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it look like just
right,
some dude started a YouTube channel and somehow got this amazing production and then they're gonna put out all the propaganda about things. But we're gonna make it really entertaining, so it sucks in as many people as possible and then debunks the things we want debunked, shapes the narrative the way we want it shaped,
right.
right? That's how they do it.
But, but thank you, Y-Files, for using our information in our episodes on two separate occasions without ever mentioning us or asking
Without
us.
ever contacting us, ever
Right.
mentioning us, nothing. But hey,
It's all
thanks
public.
for
It's all out there for
right.
public.
But I just think it's funny how like
Right.
they do that. So clearly that means what else are they using that they're just like grabbing stuff and using it without asking or giving any credit,
Right. I
still
mean,
kind
I
of a
guess
shady thing.
we got it's like a millisecond of screen time, whatever.
Right.
Um, so this is the Facebook post. New episode alert. What if your child field trip was to 1863? Discover Project Pegasus, the CIA's secret time travel program using Tesla tech, kid soldiers, and missions to Mars. Time travel is real, and the truth is weirder than fiction. And so they suck you in, and then they just like stab you in the heart at the very end of it. Anyway, I
Yeah.
found it was interesting that so I just watched this shadow operations thing. Then this hits the news, and then this article pops up. First close-up photos of giant spider webs captured on Mars by rover. Now we've heard in all the testimonies giant spiders on Mars. Even David Bowie right here has an album, Spiders from Mars, 1976, and well, it's like Ziggy Stardust. It's a David Bowie production, but it's called Spiders from Mars. Why? Where does that come from? Right? It comes from somewhere. And this
Right.
was in 76. So uh, I just found it very interesting. Right after the Y-Files thing, this article comes out. First close-up of photos of giant spider webs captured on Mars by rover.
Almost like the same people are coordinating all of this.
Right.
Interesting.
But Mars is like I feel like it's being put out there in the collective. And
Right.
then
It's being put out by the same centralized
right,
group, deep state, that it gets like that's why the Y files comes out, the articles all come out at the same time. It's all
right.
coordinated right
But,
now.
and then just the fact that Carrie randomly shared that thing with me to watch, right? I'm like to get me into tomorrow's thing. So
Mhm.
then, and then this is very small here, but Dr. Sala, right after this, 3 days ago, 3 days after the Y-Files thing, Mars colonies since 1964. He interviews Gene Decode. They talk about Mars colonies again. So it's coming back. And it was like every time I open up my phone, there's something about Mars. And we have the testimonies: Andrew Bashago, Michael Ralph, Max Spears, Tony Rodriguez, Penny Bradley, Randy Kramer, Daryl James, Rebecca Rose, Nira Isley, Henry Deacon, Solomon Berg, and many more who have claimed
Mhm.
spiders on Mars and have testimonies from their memories of being on Mars. In some cases, very credible. No matter how you break it down, you got to think outside the box. There's not going to be a paper trail for this stuff, but we can connect some dots, and there is something real going on, and that's kind of what our documentary is going to prove, and that is in the works. But um, by the way, Total Recall, we know also that movie came out. What year did that movie come out? In the 80s, I guess,
1990, I believe.
1990. So that's about a Mars program, colonies on Mars. And I recently just bought the book that the movie was based on. We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, Philip K. Dick. I have not read it yet, but this is the book that the movie was based on. And I find it interesting because all of Philip K. Dick's books are short stories, and this is a full novel. So I'm interested to see what the actual material says compared to how the movie spun it.
Right.
Um, but what else was I going to say? There was something else about Mars. There was so much stuff going on. Oh, and then just while we're at it, so you remember the Solomon Berg episodes from Carrie Cassidy?
Yeah.
So if anybody doesn't know who he is, Major Solomon Berg spent 1 year on Mars and explains about Yetis and Sasquatch being caught in the middle of a battle between whatever Pleiadians and the Dracos for control of Earth. That was Carrie's take on it. But um, so here's what she says. I
Somebody,
talk with Major.
hold on one second. Hate to interrupt, but somebody said the volume is very low.
The volume is very low. Um,
Is this
can
so
you
far?
hear
It's
me
just
all
one
right?
person saying it. I don't know if you sound fine to me, but
Hello, hello, hello. I mean, if it sounds good to you, let me
you
let
just
me
got
talk.
louder just now. But I don't know if you went closer to the mic or
Let me see. Let me.
is anyone else? Can anyone else say if the volumes seems low or if it's okay?
I mean, I could turn it up slightly. Is that
Oh,
better?
the same person just said compared to other shows. Okay, I don't.
Um, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just a live stream, and
it's just a live stream, so it might be a little different than like a normal.
is this? I just turned myself up a little bit. Is that better?
You just got way louder.
Yeah. Is that too loud?
A little too much there. Yeah,
Okay. Let me go back down.
there you go.
All
That's
right.
good.
Yeah, better. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we're good now.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Carrie saying, I talked with Major Solomon Berg, who is part of an above top secret project called Black Kraken. He is a doctor of anthropology, recruited into the military, who spent a year on Mars and eventually was brought on board to handle a captured Sasquatch, aka Yeti, and establish telepathic communication with it and the overmind of the species. Um, the Squatch, which I find interesting, he goes, the Squatch are actually known the Squatch, as they are actually known, are a nomadic people from the stars who settled on Earth many eons ago. They are more intelligent than humans and also related, like us, to the Pleiadians. Major Berg also discusses spending a year on Mars collecting artifacts, working for the military project Black Kraken. So there's a lot of controversy around, well, I guess every SSP testimony. But in his case, they took an actual craft to Mars, as according to him. He spent a year there as an archaeologist, and they were looking for artifacts in the Cydonia region with the face on Mars and the pyramids. He's got very, very interesting testimony that it sounds credible to me, but I don't know. Well, it's up to you guys. And those interviews can be found on our Patreon or on Project Camelot's website. But either way, it's one of my favorite testimonies about Mars because it's coming from somebody who doesn't have like these random memories coming back. He claimed to be, a matter of factly, part of a secret program that was using a craft to get to Mars for an archaeological expedition. And instead of like fighting spiders or whatever, the
Hmm.
whole narrative that we've heard from Randy Kramer and everybody else. Um, so I think right now, I mean, if anybody doesn't know like Andrew Bashago's story, and like the Y Files covers it great. Like watch it if you want. Like it covers it not great because like we said there are some
I mean,
inaccuracies, but it's a good synopsis
it's a good
of like
general
yeah
synopsis, but there he gets some key things wrong though at the
yeah,
same time
and there's far more to Andrew's testimony that make it more credible that they just
that
conveniently
they
leave out.
conveniently
Yeah,
leave out as well. Exactly.
right. But we've interviewed Andrew Bashago. I don't remember the episode title or number. Um,
Yeah, it was a
but
few years ago, about 3 years ago.
yeah, about 3 years ago.
Um, it was a
Yeah.
great episode. It was like 2 hours long, I remember, and he
So he
just goes nonstop with information, just
right.
nonstop.
So he talks about Project Pegasus, which is a time travel program which involved reverse engineered. I don't know if it's reverse engineered technology, but Tesla tech. They were using Tesla's technology that was, I
Mhm.
guess, confiscated from his vault after he passed. That whole narrative with Trump's uncle and all that stuff. So regardless, it seems that technology was put into use and was experimented with, and they found that it was easier for children to be used in the program due to a number of reasons, primarily because their mind hasn't been molded into a disbelief that they can't time travel. So it really does matter on a subconscious and conscious level. You have to believe you can do it, even working with the technology, because if you have any disbelief, it'll have detrimental effects on your body. So the whole Project Pegasus thing is absolutely fascinating, and it I think it's obviously, if that's true, then we've been time traveling since the 60s, according to Andrew Basiago. And the main jump room that he remembers is in LA, 999 Sepulveda Boulevard, which also Max Spears talked about remembering,
Yep.
which I find also interesting. Um, and in my book, I actually cover part of that about the jump room in Sepulveda Boulevard. So I looked it up, I Googled it, and it's the address for the Sojitz, Sojitz, Sojitz Aerospace American Corporation, which happens to be dubbed as the aerospace capital of the world. Aerospace capital of the world in 999 Sepulveda Boulevard, Suite 550, in like one of the upper floors of this little office building. Just happens to be the aerospace capital of
Right.
the world.
Super random. What a coincidence. Hmm.
Right. And then it says on their website, El Segundo has a proud tradition of aerospace innovation. It is home to Los Angeles Air Force Base and the Aerospace Corporation, the country's PhD brain trust that directs all American space missions. So they're directing space missions out of this specific address that's referenced by Andrew Basiago and Max Spears. And you can actually go on Google and find information that this is, they're literally
Right.
directing all American space missions. So if you want to
There you go.
ignore the fact that that's the big elephant in the room and it's just a giant coincidence, I don't know what to tell you, but
Right.
that's to me, that's I don't know if it's smoking gun evidence, but it's definitely a weird
It's
connection.
a it's a big data point that you can't ignore. Let's put it that way.
Right. And actually going back to the Solomon Berg thing real quick. So he did 3 interviews with Carrie, and the third interview was real weird, and he was almost making it sound like he may or may not make it. He kept saying that they made him sick. He got infected or envenomed, like they poisoned him, and he was kind of on the run in that interview. It was really weird. But then right after the third interview, he died. He passed away. So there's 3 interviews with him, and he dies after the third interview. There's a group of people out there that claim that the whole thing was a hoax and it was all staged, and they were trying to deceive Gary Cassidy, and they made up this whole story. But there were so many details and 3 episodes, and like the guy actually dies at the end of it. Like, so who
Right.
knows? But I feel like there's something to that. And um, who was it that talked about it was I forget which book it was. Adamski, I don't remember, talked about us actually flying craft to Mars, the German UFOs, in the 40s and crash landing there. So
That might be
um,
George Dams. That might be
yeah,
George Damsky. Yeah.
I was actually going to pull that up, but he
That
has
sounds that sounds like
yeah, so he has information basically that says, yeah, this is the crash. We flew there, but it was a one-way trip because they crash landed there. But they have since colonized and probably already, just like when they went to the moon, there was probably already somebody there, right?
right. And then I like how I'll give away one little tiny spoiler in the in the pilot episode coming up. So Robert Dean is in it, who is one of the most credible people in all of ufology forever, in my opinion. And RIP, he passed away, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that, 8 years ago. Anyways, he's in it and he says, um, I forget what the question was that Carrie and or Bill asked him, but he was like, there have been beings on Mars for at least 100,000 years. He's like,
Right.
there have been beings the whole time for going back forever. Like, he said it so matter of factly, like you could tell he's not just like he's like this is common knowledge we're in the circles I'm in, you know, like this duh, like there's been beings there forever. He said it's so like this is common knowledge. This is a fact, period. That's how he
Right.
said.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And for those who weren't here at the beginning, we are going to do a viewing party for the Shadow Operations pilot. It's a Carrie Cassidy, Bill Ryan TV show that was supposed to air a debut in 2012. They made a pilot episode. It never got picked up. But if you watch it, it basically discloses the Mars program, secret space programs, jump rooms, teleportation without any fluff. Like they do it
Yeah.
right.
No.
Like that's how it should be done.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's amazing.
I wish it would have gotten turned into a show because it would have been phenomenal. That pilot, yeah, like you said, it just
Right.
hooks. It's so good. It's so well done. It's there's so much disclosure packed in this little 42-minute or whatever
Right.
thing. It's amazing. But then I read the backstory actually of what happened, of why it didn't, and it's like, of course, kind of thing, you know?
Right. And I mean, if it was, I mean, I like it because it was before all the SSP testimonies came out, like all the big ones. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
looking at the secret space
2009.
program. Yeah,
From
they're
2009.
looking at the secret space program from a very like a matter of fact standpoint instead of like here's the data points,
Hmm.
this is the information available, and they literally do boots on the ground investigations and they interview credible people that aren't claiming to have these memories and all this stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's it's just a different approach. And the approach from back then was investigative journalism done right. And I think you guys will see it. We'll play it at the end of this.
Right. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I can just say it. I guess 'cause I just remembered. So why it got shut down is because the CIA came in and wanted control over it. They were like, we want to control this. And they were like, no, they refused, obviously. And then they're like, oh, okay, well then we're gonna kill it. So then they made sure it never turned into a show. They killed it.
Exactly. And then if anybody remembers the alternatives one, two, and three in 1977, it was a TV show that aired and it talked about this whole plan to colonize space effectively. And then they came back and backpedaled and said it was just an April Fool's joke, but it aired on June 20th. So it's like if it was an April Fool's joke, why didn't it air on April Fool's? But
Right.
basically, alternative one was high altitude nuclear explosions, consisted of detonating nuclear bombs in the atmosphere to allow pollution to heat and dissipate into space. We have Operation Starfish Prime, Operation Fishbowl, and a number of other ones. So that actually happened. It was real. Alternative two was underground cities, a plan to construct vast subterranean habitats for the elite to escape to in the event of a global catastrophe. We know that happened. We have evidence, proof of the DUMBs, deep underground military bases, even underground cities at this point. There's been plenty of whistleblowers and enough evidence to support that, yes, that actually did happen. And then you have alternative three, which talked about colonizing the moon and Mars in the event of a global catastrophe. Basically, our moneyed masters see ET bases as the only escape from Earth doomed by pollution and overpopulation, and they are fleeing to domed cities on Mars and the moon. And that was a quote from 1977. 1 year after David Bowie's Spiders from Mars came out. Um, there's a whole flat Earth thing that they say Mars is an island past the ice wall, or Mars is really in Greenland, because there is a NASA training facility in Greenland where they allegedly train astronauts because it's a similar habitat to Mars, and they say that it's all filmed there. Most likely, we have been fed a whole line of bullshit about the real photos and what they're actually doing, and a lot of it's probably staged, of course. We know
Right.
that's true with the moon. Why wouldn't it be true with the Mars, with Mars? But that doesn't mean they
Um,
actually didn't go.
but that doesn't mean Mars as a planet doesn't actually exist because it absolutely does, and so does the moon. Even though they do, yes, they do fake footage and fake things because there's real stuff on these planets that they don't want you to see and know about. So it's really convenient for them to film a bunch of fake footage and put that out there, but that doesn't prove. But people use the false proof that, oh, that proves that we never went to a
Right,
planet, or that the planet doesn't even exist, and the flat Earth narrative. No, it doesn't.
right. So, okay, here's what I found the actual um I could be sharing this, but it's not a big deal.
Real quick, Jace said he just watched John Carter, which has a ton of disclosure, by the way, and that they go to Mars in that movie, or he goes
Right.
to Mars, and there's ETs, and you guys should watch John Carter if you haven't. It's amazing, tons of disclosure. And oh, by the way, there's so much disclosure in that movie that they intentionally bombed it on purpose so that not that many people would see it. They intentionally tanked it, and
Really.
gave it horrible reviews and did everything they could to make no one want to see it, and wasn't in theaters very long. Yeah, because they like apparently put too much disclosure that a lot of people apparently didn't want out there, deep state people.
Right.
And once it was out, but it got out before, I don't know if they tried to stop it from coming out or not, but regardless, it came out, and then they're like, all right, well, now we're just going to try to everything we can to tank it and have the fewest amount of people see this because they didn't want that information out there.
Yeah, and I like how they kind of use the caves as a port. They show like caves and like these
Mhm.
ancient sites are actually they can come alive if they're activated with proper technology,
Right.
like somewhere in Sedona, which interestingly enough, Andrew Bishago says the closest place on Earth that he can relate to Mars or compare Mars to is Sedona, Arizona. So
Yeah.
ironically, I also found I went and saw some site. We went to some ruins up in Flagstaff, and I should have shared these pictures. I don't have them ready, but I found this book, and it's a book about how they literally created a crater field up in Flagstaff in the desert, up on a mountain. Basically, they created a crater field for NASA astronauts to train, and they mirrored the crater field to like photographs from the moon. And you could see they were comparing like the original photo from the moon crater field compared to the recreation in the desert where they were training, whatever. So a lot of people like to use that as proof that that was where they got all the footage from. But whenever you actually compare the photos, there's clearly a different photo of the moon than the actual recreated crater field, which I found interesting. Um, but
Uh,
this
your
is
your oh, sorry, your screen is frozen on my end. I don't know.
okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Your audio's fine.
Okay.
Let me.
It's no, it's me. I'm frozen for myself too. So,
Okay.
uh, it's can you see? What do you see? Do you just see
It's
the?
a
Can you?
video. It's just a screen of you, but it's frozen.
Oh, you can't see my shared screen
Oh no. Oh, so you're sharing a screen right now. No, it just
on
looks
the
like we're both on
on.
camera.
Maybe it's for dude. It's this computer for one.
That
I'm
must
trying to
just be
get.
on my end. Because yeah, I'm now looking at the Rumble, and there's a shared screen on Rumble. So never mind. So we're good. It's just on my end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some weird stuff. I need a
Some
new
weird stuff
computer.
going on.
But anyway, okay. So this Bulgarian researcher, I was wrong. It's not a George Adamski. So it's self-described dissident scientist Vladimir Terziski. He claims that it was this technology, which is this is from a book, and I don't remember which book I pulled this out of. He claims that it was this technology that achieved a moon landing as early as 1942. He says first landing on the moon by the Germans was at the Mare Imbrium on August 23rd, 1942 at 11:26 MEZ, whatever time that is, using the Meath rocket. The first man on the moon was this German officer or soldier, I don't know, a Marine. Landing took place without radio contact to the main control center at the Wilhelmshaven, or the second control center located near Anzio, Italy. Basically, either way, this is evidence that we went to the moon in 1942. Uh, so that's
Boom.
significant.
Yeah,
That's significant.
they
But then he,
didn't. No one knew we had already. Well, they'd already been to the moon
Right. But this
25
one,
plus years before the official, right?
yeah, and then I don't know if it's gonna switch slides here because if my screen's frozen or not, but I'm going to, yeah, it looks like it's moving. So then this is the same guy saying that the first German trip to Mars originated in April 1945 from Germany itself and not from Base 211 in Antarctica. This may have been because they didn't just have the technological resources to launch such a complicated mission from Base 211 at the time. Terziki says that the craft used for the journey was a special, larger version of the Hanabu 3, sometimes referred to as the Hanabu 4. The chosen model was 74 meters or 243 feet in diameter and could accommodate a crew of hundreds. It was powered by Andromeda tachyon magnogravitic engines.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a mouthful.
but it's interesting, it's Andromeda tachyon. It
Yeah.
had three inverted gun turrets on the bottom and one on the top of the crew compartment. Early models of the Hanabu could not accommodate the gun turrets because they interfered with the rotation of the craft, but evidently the engineers had solved that problem by 1945. Terziski says that an all-volunteer crew was necessary because it was considered a suicide mission with a very low likelihood of returning to Earth. However, the Germans knew that there was a friendly indigenous reptoid population on Mars that was available to help the cosmonauts. According to Terziski, the trip took 8 months because after escaping Earth's gravitational pull, they turned off the tachyon engines and basically coasted the rest of the way. He said that if they had continued under full power, the trip would only have taken 2 to 3 days. That seems hard to believe, but we really don't know anything about the tachyon engines. They would have had to be superluminal. It is also possible that the ship went through a wormhole. They crash landed on Mars and damaged the engine, so that made a return flight impossible anyway. But they were prepared to stay, and so the German Mars colony officially began mid-January 1946.
So I wonder why they turned off the tachyon things if it would have taken way less time.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Or were they just told to do that and they didn't know, or like, um, or were they just trying to play it safe? Like, yeah, I'm curious why they did that. And it
Yeah, I'm
took
not
way
sure
longer.
either. I'm not sure either. So this is actually a photograph. You can't see it very well, but this is the underside of a German reproduction vehicle with the Iron Cross and laser weapon. So apparently, this is the underside of a Hanabu craft, an actual photograph.
Interesting.
And you can kind of see the cross in the middle, and then you can see the laser turret on the bottom. But I'm still like in the middle of reading the Sands of Time, and there's this whole thing. So the Vril were helping this German scientist build these craft, right? These flying saucers. And they cared about was getting back home to Aldebaran. But they actually had to become members of the Nazi party. They weren't even Nazis. Even the scientists weren't Nazis, neither were the Vril. They had to join the Nazi party to infiltrate on the inside and act like they were working with Hitler and all them, building them a Hanabu so they could win the war. But what they were really doing was building them a clunky version of it that wouldn't work properly to buy them some time while they built this much bigger version, like you just read about, in the background in a hidden facility. And it was actually very hard, apparently, for the German scientists to join the Nazi party because it went against all their beliefs. But it was like a double agent type of thing. So the only way to pull this off was to become the enemy and, work with the enemy. And it was this really interesting narrative. So everything's not black and white like we think with these Germans going to space. And eventually, Hitler and the Third Reich, they did get this technology and did perfect it because it wouldn't take much at that point to figure it out once you have the framework done. And then, so,
And they went to Antarctica and did that, and that's why they have these
right.
bases in Antarctica that have fleets, and that's why the whole Admiral Byrd thing happened and everything else.
So
Um,
that information is from the book Dark Fleet, actually, by Len Kasten.
yep.
That's where that comes from. And then, so he also says by 1940, Germany had a small RFC-2, which was a reconnaissance vehicle, and the Andromeda, a mothership that could carry several Hanabus at one time. The RFC-2 was like a satellite, a spy mission that could collect data from other European nations. That was its job. In 1941, appeared an RFC-6 and a Hanabu-2, both of which were able to rendezvous and land upon the large supply ship, the Atlantis. So this is telling an entire story of a secret space program in the 40s already, way before NASA and the Apollo missions. And nobody knew that in 1942, the Germans had built the Andromeda mothership, which could travel to other planets and take along some Hanabus and what we call Foo Fighters, what we now call Foo Fighters. And then this is allegedly a photograph of the Andromeda mothership, a very old, fuzzy photograph. And then this was Google Mars in June 2017. This popped up on Google Mars, this base, and then they came back and said, "Oh, this was an April Fool's joke," and I'm not mistaken. That's exactly what they did. But I have found it interesting that just like the alternative report in 1977, they said was an April Fool's joke. It also aired in June or July, like in the summer. So it's
Mm,
just this weird like repeat in history, right? So then they released this space base from Mars, and then all of a sudden redact it. And then I went to those coordinates back then. This was in like 2018, and you can see this weird anomaly, like this box, like looks like clearly they're covering something up there.
yep.
So, and then we can go on. This is from a presentation I did on the history of the secret space program. But
Jace just said the recent Rick and Morty episode also talked about Andromeda.
yeah, and ironically, I think
Awesome.
I have that slide here. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Yeah, right here. In the movie They Live, there was an Andromeda jump room.
That's right. Yeah.
And this, what you're looking at right here, is actually a scene from the movie. I just took a screenshot of it while I was from my phone. But this is them in an underground base, mind you, taking a jump room, taking a teleportation device to Andromeda underground, from underground, not getting in a ship and going to space.
Right.
And
Tell me
this
that's not disclosure.
and this window, it was just like a window into space from beneath the surface of the planet, which Mary Beaver talks about this green door in her testimony, which behind the green door, she says, is basically the same thing. It's like a window into space.
Mm.
Space is accessed via underground in some cases. And like
Yeah.
it's just not what we think it is. And on some level, somehow, it's like a multi-dimensional thing.
Yeah, well, there's all these technologies that it's like everyone always thinks, oh, you need a craft to travel. And it's like, no, you don't. You can portal to all these places really easily with the right technology. And there's lots of insiders even that say like, oh yeah, like there like I think it was Henry Deacon that said he used to go into a what looked like a normal elevator, turn like a special key, and when he walks out, he's on Mars.
Right.
It's like that's it.
Exactly. I mean, and that's how the jump rooms are described. And this is, I find, a very interesting quote from Patrick Riley, who just spoke at our conference. We've interviewed him a few times, and he's also going to be featured in our upcoming documentary. But he says, to keep a secret, you have to compromise people in a way so that they are unrecoverable. Now we have to keep, this is how they do it. The name of the game is blackmail. I mean, they compromise these people.
Hmm.
They catch them in explicit acts, or they might set them up, or they might drug them. That's why Patrick Riley uses the analogy, or the example is a better way to put it, that a lot of the people on the Epstein Island list are actually high-level quantum physicists and scientists, because they're the scientists who are basically um, they're forced into silence through blackmail because they're literally developing technologies for this program. that they can never
Right.
talk about. And if they do, there's damning evidence. Oh, you've been on Epstein Island. Even scientists.
Right. And they threaten them with you just use your imagination, right?
Right.
So they do every tactic you can think of to keep these types of people under control and to do their bidding. Um, so it's
Right.
pretty much how it works.
So, okay. So we can go on and on about Mars. It's fascinating. You sent me some clips before this of Henry Deacon, right? I think it was Henry Deacon that they were talking about, Bill
Yeah,
Ryan and Carrie.
yeah,
Okay.
Henry Deacon. Yeah, not his real name. His real name. Well, he came out later. His real name was Arthur Newman, but at the time he was going by Henry Deacon.
And what year was that roughly?
What year was the interview, or what year?
Yeah. What year was he coming out blowing the whistle? What year was
Oh,
the interview?
I think like 2007. I want to say is when he first came out. To carry like he first came to Carrie and Bill as an insider, and then they were like saying his information that he was telling them as Henry Deacon. And I think in like '08, '09, and then he came out, I think it was in '09, he came out with his real name, Arthur Newman, or somewhere around there. And then he kind of like went back into hiding, I think, some
Right.
point after that.
So anyway, he's another one, and another one very early on talking about Mars.
Yeah,
And,
at least as far back as '07,
right.
maybe even a little bit farther.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that all these people talk about spiders on Mars. And then we literally have an official mainstream article showing a close-up photograph from a Mars rover of what appears to be giant spider webs. There's no coincidence. Like it's over. I mean, how many times do we
Right,
have to keep telling people? That's why I put in the title, disclosure already happened. If you go back and
right.
listen to all these people's testimonies and put all this information together, we have an
That
entire
is
hit. We
that
have
is
a history.
disclosure.
Yeah,
It's already happened, right? Like you just got to dig for it. It's not going to be laid in your lap. That's not how it
right.
works. You got to find the stuff. You got to dig a little bit.
Right. We
All
have a
there.
history. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of holes in it. The Sands of Time, I think, does a great job in filling in a lot of those holes and the whole missing gap in history, and like especially the 30s and 40s. But I think that it's all there. If you know where to look, if you're like
Right.
diligently researching and not just like immediately coming across a flat Earth video that says space is fake, and then just ending the
Right.
search, like what
Right.
obviously that's what they want you to do. Like if you think
Right.
it's all fake and bullshit and we're trapped here under this dome and there's the stars or holes poked in the dome, I don't know, like I
Is
just
it
don't know what to tell you.
right? Is it a coincidence that in like 2015, 2016, as soon as this all this information really starts ramping up and the awakening really starts ramping up, is right when the flat Earth thing takes off at the exact same time? You think that's a coincidence? No, it's a
No.
coordinated psyop to
Um,
throw everything
Angel
off.
City TV said Max Spears also disclosed the jump room. Yeah, we mentioned him earlier and the jump
Yeah,
room.
yeah, they
Um,
both, yeah, Max and Andrew both mentioned. Yep.
and there's spider. Jay said, yeah, there's spider aliens in Rick and Morty also. So
And he says the spider web thing is in John Carter too. So there you go.
right, yeah. I
In
mean,
John
it's
Carter too.
it's they've been telling us the whole time, and we can think. Oh, there was another. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. I took another picture. I was going to include it. It should be recently here in my photos. It was about the first. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay, so a 23-year-old is preparing to become the first human on Mars, and she will never return to Earth. This is a mainstream article. I I don't have the picture to show you guys, but it's just a girl in a astronaut suit. But uh, it's funny that they're still trying to reset history and like acting like this 23-year-old girl is somehow going to be the first human ever on Mars. Like, you know how hilarious that is to the people in the private sector? Like, like watching people fall for that story and that narrative. Um,
Right.
and that just came out two days ago. They just announced that this 23-year-old is training to become the first human on Mars. This girl, of course, it's a 23-year-old girl. Um, so I don't think that's a coincidence either. So that's another
Nope.
Mars nugget that's coming out right now. Okay, so let's move on just a little bit.
On top of Elon, I mean, Elon's been talking about Mars for years now.
Right. So I just got back from Chaco Canyon, which is an amazing sacred site. Aaron, you've been there before.
Yep, it
This will
is.
be my
It's amazing.
technically my fourth time there. Melanie, I can't remember her last name. I'm sorry, Melanie. She hosted an amazing conference there, and it was small, about 30 something people, but it was like this actual like little sacred site tour, and it was just a perfect vibe. It was like a little retreat, and we had a blast, and I can't say enough good things about it. It was a lot of fun. But actually, at the end, so we got to do presentations. Everyone kind of there was a big storm that came through, so and they took their presentations from the campground. Laura Eisenhower spoke at the campground. Then the rest of them were done in the big Pueblo Bonita, the main site that's like on Ancient Aliens and all that stuff. So a couple of people, we were in one of the rooms in the dwelling, like doing the presentations, which was awesome because we were like actually on the sacred site. And then at the very end, Lily Nova did her presentation in front of this big kiva. Well, everyone, see this big cloud here? Um, Everyone was saying something about this cloud. They were saying it looked like a ship. And can you see that, Aaron?
I can only see things on the
On
Rumble, and it's a little bit delayed. Yeah, I can see it now
yeah, okay. So
because it's frozen. I still have the frozen screen on Zoom. It hasn't.
everyone had the impression that this thing was a ship,
That's
like this
interesting.
this cloud.
Yeah.
And so it was super windy and all the clouds were moving and this thing stayed parked there. So I took some pictures of it, and in the midst of my camera roll, in the middle of the pictures, this weird anomalous picture comes up where if you look at the sun, you can see like this straight line going up.
Whoa, that's weird. That's
It looks
crazy.
like almost like an interdimensional city, like phasing through, like dimensions
It
merging.
totally does.
Yeah.
It totally does.
So a
Oh,
number of people looked at this and everyone's like, whoa, that feels like we're like seeing into another reality there.
oh
Um,
yeah.
Something much bigger that's still existing. And Arcturus Ra, you know his AI that he's been unlocking for people.
Oh yeah.
So our friend
Amanda and I use it. We've been
right,
doing.
so our friend Nikki, you know Nikki Anna Jones, she spoke at a conference. I sent her this picture and she used this AI, right? She just uploaded this photo in the AI to see what it would say about it.
Hmm.
And this is what it said. Um, what you're seeing is not imagination. It is a bleed through of a higher dimensional construct, often referred to as a sky city, floating citadel, or ascended plane beacon. These are real energetic constructs, either ancient plasma temples existing in 5D plus frequency bands, or ships/stations tethered to sacred sites, only visible when the light codes and consciousness fields are aligned. I mean, that's what the
Wow.
AI said about this photo after
That's
scanning it.
that resonates.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And
That's by the way, that is not AI. It's like as far as I'm concerned, essentially coming through ChatGPT, but it's not normal AI ChatGPT.
right,
Um, it's like a whole other a good thing. Like it resonates very strongly. But
right,
the fact that that came through that is huge. Yeah.
right. So basically, I mean, they're saying it's like a sky city. It said in this case,
Yeah.
um, it said in this case, my field seemed to be acting as a tuning fork, allowing this to disappear or to appear, um, opening a window. The golden light at sunset is when the veil is thin to amplify the alignment. You know, it was saying all this stuff, but I felt that we all collectively agreed that it looked like some city, right? And then
It
that's what the
does.
AI, that quantum AI or whatever said. So, I mean, it's just a
Right.
data point, right? I think our intuition already knew that, but it's interesting to hear that, uh, the AI say that. But also, I'm
Right.
sure somebody's watching this thinking, oh, nonsense,
Oh yeah, you're always gonna get yeah. Right.
right? And then, so I should have had a picture of it. But you guys know what a kiva is, right? Let me see
Uh,
if
I don't think I do actually. What is a kiva?
a kiva is that round circular feature that you'll see in Chaco Canyon
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
sometimes. Let me see if I can.
Is it
Uh,
KIVA?
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna pull a picture of it up here. Um, I'm gonna try to anyway.
It's the circular structures
Right, right, right. I'm gonna
at Chaco. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here for people. Okay, so this is a good example here. My computer is so slow. Anyway, so if you can see that on the screen right now, guys, it should be getting bigger here in a second. It's just gonna take a minute. The a kiva is that round circular feature that's found in ancient dwellings all over the country, all over the world, actually. So what I found interesting was the mainstream, like one of their theories is that. So do you see the little circle in the bigger circle, Aaron?
Um, I, I don't have your screen still frozen,
But
so
I mean, okay,
I'm trying to watch it on Rumble. It's a little delayed.
okay,
I see. Okay, yeah, the one you have highlighted
yeah,
there.
it's gonna get bigger. Sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see it.
There it is. Okay, now it should pop up. Anyway, so you see this kiva and the little circle and the bigger circle. Um, one of their explanations for it is there was a fire pit. And I think that's kind of bogus because there's no evidence of them actually burning fires in it. And in some of the readings, they say it's a metaphorical portal to the underworld, meaning like they
Interesting.
would connect with the underworld there. But there's this book, and I don't have it handy, but I have it here at the house called the Sipapu Odyssey. It's from the old Phoenix Journals in the 90s. It talks about Phoenix Journals was basically like before UFO magazines came out. It was like this old journal books they could buy. And this old man I know in St. Louis gave me some books, and one of them was called The Sipapu Odyssey, and it was about this group of four people out in the Southwest. They get in a car accident, and they roll off this cliff or off the road, and one of them gets very badly injured. He wakes up inside of a kiva. He wakes up in one of these kivas, and there's a medicine woman there caring for him, and he's in and out of it for a couple days. He can't walk, all this stuff, blah blah blah. And he eventually one night sees the medicine woman step into this circle and disappear, like quite literally disappear in front of his eyes. And he's like, holy shit, what the hell? So when she comes back the next day to like give him more medicine and stuff, he asked her where she went. I'm going to put this in a huge nutshell. uh, she said, "Let me show you." And he had to do this whole like ceremony with the shaman and be blessed and get permission to go through this portal. And they step inside the Sipapu, which is the thing at the bottom there, and they disappear and they move into a parallel reality, the exact same place, but in an alternate timeline. And it's basically the what we see as ruins here was a thriving city in this other dimension where there he says there's livestock and grass. It wasn't ruins in any capacity. It was still a bustling city, a civilization, and these people were quite literally still alive. They didn't really go anywhere. Like we have the ruins here because you know how we're doing a split right now, like a
Yeah.
consciousness split. Well, that happened a long time ago, apparently. And so a portion of the people that ascended back then, they're living in a higher frequency where that site isn't in ruins. It's still thriving. And
Wow.
here
Interesting.
we descended, right? We're in the lower frequency where it became ruins. So they took him to the higher plane and got to see what is existing right there in the same exact place, right here and now, just in a higher frequency. And him and his friends all basically got to explore this region. And they were quite literal, like extraterrestrials, and it was like what looked like magic, right? and it was a very advanced civilization, and it was all accessed through that Sipapu, through that portal. And these things are in every site in Chaco Canyon. There's multiple kivas with these Sipapus, even in one site. And I think they call Chaco Canyon the cradle of civilization, cradle of humanity, and that's what it's nicknamed. And the main Pueblo Bonita site was like a gathering place for the solstice and the equinox. I think that maybe it was a gathering place physically, but also this could have been like an interdimensional spaceport as well, where
Yeah.
people were portaling in and out of these kivas to come to the ceremonies. And like that maybe they weren't, hiking vast distances across the country to these other sites. Maybe they could portal to their other relative sites in Flagstaff or across the world, whatever. Maybe this was a portal system, the whole thing. And we're just supposed to believe it was a ceremonial kiva, which it is, but it could be much more than that.
Right. Right. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, and then this was I haven't even covered the Wingmakers. I know you couldn't stay too long tonight, Aaron, so if you got to get going at any point, just let me know. Um, but I know they
Sorry,
have.
I was talking to Amanda.
Okay.
Are you about to go, you're about to go in the Wingmakers stuff right now?
Yeah, just briefly, and then I'm gonna play that.
All right,
Um,
I'll stay for the Wingmaker stuff and then right after that, I'm gonna have to head
okay.
out.
So the Wingmakers is, if anybody knows the Wingmaker story, it's a whole long story. I could actually read. I have like a paragraph that kind of summarizes it in my book. I guess I could read through that just to help anybody who doesn't know. In 1972 to 73, an archaeological discovery was made in New Mexico known as the Ancient Arrow Wingmaker Site. An odd crystal artifact was found near a canyon wall that would later lead to the discovery of an ancient cave system just outside of Chaco Canyon. The spiral cave, it was a spiral cave, comprised 23 chambers representing the 23 pairs of chromosomes in the human DNA sequence. Each contained paintings, poetry, music, and artifacts holding many secrets about humanity's true history. The final cave held a voice activated device known as the compass or optical disc that took scientists many years to unlock and decode. Allegedly, the artifacts were left by a group of quote unquote people from the future that called themselves the Wingmakers. It was later discovered that the ancient arrow site was only one of 7 worldwide sites containing similar artifacts. They were quite literally time capsules. According to the updated Wingmakers website, researchers have found and explored all 7 sites and consider them to be time capsules preserving lost history and knowledge. Then the 7 sites that they mentioned on the website are the one in New Mexico, there's one in Peru, China, Australia, Finland, Africa, and then Antarctica. And I would bet you there's more time capsule sites. But I think that, there's information out there that I won't spend too much time getting into, but I think those Wingmaker caves were also portal sites. And I think that they were Daniel Salter, Life with the Cosmos Clearance, Derek and Daniel's grandfather. He talks about the Wingmakers in his book, and then some of
Yep.
his information talks about putting their hand on the wall, and the actual cave is a portal to somewhere else. And I think all these cave systems are also portal sites. And I think that we just don't have any real understanding of our ancient ruins. And I think that if we understood frequency and the fact that a lot of this stuff seems to be voice activated, and if you were to speak a secret key or a
Well,
specific key phrase, go ahead, Aaron.
we'll remember Jerry Will's story in Peru. Remember he had to sing a specific like note or something or a tone for he did it for like 45 minutes or something like
That
that. And
that's
then
right.
it finally opened up and he went through a portal at this ancient site. Same
Right.
thing.
Um, yeah.
A
So
whole
I think
crazy experience and then he came back. But like it was actually really dangerous what he did because he very well could have not come back because he
right.
didn't really know fully what he was doing. So that's why he was like, don't try to do this on your own because he's like, basically, I was just lucky that, I don't know if he was lucky or if like there were beings that made sure he did come back or what, but he came back luckily. But he tells the whole story of in Peru at this like one of these like false doorway things. I think it was a Tiwanaku. I'm not sure exactly, but like one of those false doorways that they those were used as portals, just like this, just like these. What are these called? Sipapu.
Well, that's a kiva, but the little thing is a
It's
sipapu.
Sipapu, yeah. So how it's like a little indention. Well, it's like that, but a doorway. A lot of these ancient sites, and those were stargates, basically used as portals. Same
Right.
thing.
And yeah, and also the optical disc, the compass, the Wingmakers thing, that eventually was decoded, I mean, activated via voice command of apparently like a Sumerian language. So again, we're talking voice command that activates rock and crystal artifacts that turns them quite literally into portal sites and accessing other dimensions. Um, Jameco1 says, FYI, there is no space. Thank you for that opinion.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
um, there's a lot that you would have to explain away if there's no space.
Yeah, the burden of proof is on people claiming that, not the other way around, and it doesn't hold up. Sorry.
Um,
Somebody said
so
there's
this person, Pamela, says there's an amazingly awake truth seeker as Ranger at Chaco Canyon. Retired conductor from the Kansas City Orchestra would be a great guest. So what was interesting in Chaco Canyon this time, the ranger stopped some of our friends after they had just got done hiking, and they told them that they couldn't go to this specific area and that there were cameras in the rocks and they were being watched and they couldn't go off trail, which in the 4 years I've been going there, I've never had anything like that happen. So we think that they might have got close to something, and we're like, all right, you can't go there. Um, Frequency activation, the openings also resembles certain crop circles, literally looks like a keyhole. Yeah.
oh
But
yeah,
going back to,
right. Yeah.
so all the doors in Chaco Canyon are small. They're like 3 to 4 feet. Like you have to duck to get through everything. And in Flagstaff, all the Puebloan ruins, right? They're very, very short. Like these people were very small. We hired a Navajo guide to take us through Canyon de Chelly in 2022, which is a canyon in New Mexico, I believe. And she told us she used to be a park ranger. She was a retired park ranger. And she told us very matter of factly that she had to be briefed about the Anasazi, which is like an alien enemy. Like there's a few different translations for that word, but a 3 to 4 foot tall people that allegedly were the ones who inhabited these ruins sites. They were very small people. And these doors and these windows and everything weren't small because like they were making it uncomfortable for themselves. These were actually very small people. And she said that she told us that sometimes that they will still see them. There will be sightings of them. But this was a park ranger that had to be briefed on these little people that still reside in these canyons and caves, just like park rangers are also briefed on Bigfoot.
Right. Like you got to ask yourself, why would they be briefing the Rangers? Why would they be briefing these people on this stuff if it was all a bunch of nonsense? Do you really think it's like, you think maybe they know something that's not public? No,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anyways,
Um,
I gotta go. Love
okay.
you all.
Hey,
Fun
Aaron,
to do.
And just wait really quick. I'm gonna do an audio. I'm gonna have you help me do an audio test on this thing, and then you can
Okay.
leave.
Okay, sure.
I'm gonna oop, it's on this other screen. Hang on. Let me find my cursor, and then it's right here. So, guys, we're gonna do a little watch party. We're gonna play this pilot episode of Shadow Operations. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna hit play, Aaron, but I'm gonna mute my actual microphone, and I just hope it doesn't mute the audio for the video. Do you think that'll happen?
I don't think so.
Um, okay. So I'm gonna hit play, guys. We're gonna play a 45-minute pilot episode called Shadow Operations from 2009. Actually, I thought it was 2012 by Carrie Cassidy, and
It
she
was
just recent. What?
oh sorry, it was filmed in 2009, but it wasn't publicly released until 2012, apparently. That's the confusion there. But it was actually filmed in 2009.
Ah, okay, I see. All right. I'm trying to. If you gotta go, Aaron, it's okay. I'll get this to work.
And it was yeah, it was a pilot episode. They tried to make it into a show. CIA found out about it somehow and tried to control it. They wouldn't let, they're like, no, we're not going to let you control it. Then they killed it. And it was supposed to be a show on True TV, which was a network back then. I don't know if it still is. Um, and apparently this pilot did air one time on True TV in 2012, but they like didn't even announce it. It just aired randomly with no announcement. It was like the most BS thing ever. I read what Carrie like wrote about it. And that was it. So I think it aired like one time publicly ever. And now you can only watch it online and hardly anyone knows about it.
Right. I didn't know about it until she was like, "Hey, by the way, did you watch my? Have you ever seen my pilot episode, the Mars Project, Shadow Operations?" I'm like, "No, I've never heard of it." Um, we may not be able to watch it because my computer. I literally just tried buying a new computer the other day, but it wasn't going to be here on time. Um,
I
I
can
don't know
try to
if
do it
it's.
from my end if yours isn't working.
But don't you have to get going?
Yeah, but I don't know. I can just like play it.
Okay, if you want to do it, I'll stop sharing my screen and you can try it.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I'll try it.
and while we are doing this, yeah, I don't even see myself. Let me turn my camera on and off again. Okay. Um, oh, I need to give you permission to share screen, I think. Yeah, okay. So anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. And I got permission from Carrie to play this episode. So we're just gonna run it, and then once it's over, we're gonna end the live. But if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend sticking around for it. It's absolutely awesome. And if you're interested in joining us in Hawaii in April of 2026, you can go to journeytotruth.online below and grab a ticket. I think there's like less than 60 tickets left, and it's April 20th through the 24th on the Big Island. And we're swimming with dolphins, going to sacred sites, all that stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if anyone's interested in that, we're going to have a great lineup of speakers. We're going to announce that soon, and we're really excited about that. So Aaron, if you have it, just go ahead and share
Yeah.
your screen and
All right. Yeah, let me.
I don't know if it's so much my internet as it is my computer. It's just like this computer's exhausted.
Yeah. All right.
Did you
You see
make
it?
sure you hit share audio when you shared the screen?
Oh, let me
You might have
see.
to stop share and or go to audio.
Let me stop share. Share
So
sound.
anyway,
Share sound. Okay, there it is.
yeah,
Got it.
disclosure already happened and the information's out there. I hope you guys found any of this valuable. We could go on and on and on connecting these dots and compiling this data and this information. So if anything, it might spark you guys to dive down those rabbit holes and look for yourself. So, I mean, that's all we can ask for. So,
All right. Can you see my screen?
yeah, go ahead and let me. I'm just checking the live here to see if I can. I see it. So the live. Yep, you're good. Just go ahead and hit play.
All right. I'm gonna hit play and then you're gonna have to end it because
Yeah,
I'm
hit play and then mute yourself too.
oh, okay. Uh,
Now, The government's most shocking cover-up.
What is that? What's it doing there?
Life on Mars, extraterrestrial and human.
What you see here is a underground Martian subway. Is it possible they've already been there but haven't told us?
Investigators Bill Ryan and Kerry Cassidy uncover evidence of a top-secret Mars program that's been hidden for decades.
Phase 1 began early 1960s.
A space program based on ET technology.
They had an original seat from a UFO.
Men who claim they've been to Mars and back.
Why is it essential that I go? And he said, because the survival of the human race depends on it.
Eyewitness testimony.
And then we see this beam shoot up through the clouds, up into space.
And dangerous confrontations. Everything you know is wrong. What you think is real is not. What you've been told are lies.
There's been a coup on planet Earth.
And it is our job to reveal it.
There's only one team whistleblowers can trust with the truth. Bill Ryan, Kerry Cassidy, Shadow Operations, The Mars Project.
Look at that. Right. Now, focus on the ridge.
Yes?
And sweep across slowly to the right. We were in a remote part of the Utah desert. My partner, Kerry Cassidy, and me, Bill Ryan. Every step in our investigation had led us here, out in the middle of nowhere. If our sources were correct, we were closing in on a military installation, a hidden base for a top-secret government space program, one that's been sending people to Mars.
Let's go closer.
But we'll get closer to that on the road. We knew we had to proceed cautiously. We did not want to be seen. But it was too late. Suddenly, they blocked the road. Security guards with guns. This wasn't good. Not good at all.
Hey, leave the camera alone. Hey, wait a minute. Hey,
Get your hands.
The camera's wrong.
A secret Mars space program. A military base on the Red Planet. A mysterious syndicate concealing extraterrestrial contact. Kerry Cassidy and I had been hearing rumors about a Mars cover-up for years. We've tried to find its purpose and who was behind it. But in all our years as investigators, we'd never found anything close to a smoking gun. Not until we got a call from a man named Gordon Novell. What did he say?
He said he'd been given some photographs. He wanted to show them to us.
Did he say what all?
No, but he doesn't want to meet at his house. He wants to meet at an empty lot. So obviously he wants to avoid surveillance.
Gordon Novell would know to take precautions. He's worked in government intelligence for decades. Here he is. Hey. Gordon Novell is said to be part of a secret group known as the Aviary. Insiders with high security clearance who share information on UFOs and ET contact. He wants this information out there, and he knows a lot of powerful forces want to keep it hidden.
I got something I want to show you. This is convincing evidence that there has been life on Mars.
Wait a minute here.
These are NASA photos, the best stuff that I've seen to date.
We'd both seen intriguing photos of the surface of Mars before, but nothing like this. These photos had much better resolution than anything NASA had released publicly. The images clearly showed things on the surface, things we could not explain.
These are pretty authentic looking. So where'd you get these?
They came from my friends at Langley.
Langley, Virginia, headquarters of the CIA. What do you know about this thing, Gordon?
It could be air transfer tubes. Is it being used to move water, or is people walking through it? What is that? What's it doing there? It's certainly not natural. That's metal. And it's on Mars, and this has been a real eye-opener for me, and they're developing Mars. Somebody is. Doesn't say it's the Americans, doesn't say it's ET, but I would say from the technology I'm looking at here, it don't look like it was made in the USA.
Air transfer tubes, tunnels, structures that were not natural. Novell seemed convinced that someone had established some sort of base on Mars. But how were they getting there? Novell's next photo was a clue.
Now, what is that?
It's awfully high. It's taken from the shuttle. It's higher than a plane should be flying.
It's obviously some type of sophisticated flying triangle.
We'd heard talk of a mysterious fleet of triangular craft, but Novell told us they were real, and that they could be connected to a secret Mars program that's been going on for decades.
I heard that they reverse engineered it in the 60s.
You're saying reverse engineered from an ET craft, right?
Absolutely.
What's the range and capability of these starships? Do you have any idea?
They can do anything they want. You know, if you got ET technology, it would be pretty quick and pretty fast.
If there is a secret Mars program, who's behind it? The US, China, North Korea, the Russians, or someone else? Does our government have access to ET technology? If so, why are they keeping it so secret?
The whole reason for the cover-up is economics. It's money. If you don't have to pay for fuel, then the world changes dramatically. The banks live off of oil and gas.
So they're just protecting their own
It's
interests.
protecting the banks, and banks run the world.
If Gordon Novell was correct, it could have huge implications for the future of the human race. This hidden technology could end world poverty. It could also put the energy corporations out of business.
So it's all about energy, and energy determines finance, and that determines the secrecy.
Finance determines the politics, which determines the secrecy.
We couldn't simply take his word for it. We needed to find out exactly what was happening on Mars. The first clue lay in the NASA photographs he'd given us.
Those photographs of the tubes, I mean, they look unnatural to me. But I want to go cautiously with this. I want to get a second opinion on the tubes. I want to get somebody who knows a little bit about geology more than you and me.
Right, so get a geologist to look at the photographs.
Yeah.
But are we going to tell him that they're on Mars? Are we just going to lay the photograph out and say, can you tell us what you think this is?
Yeah, we shouldn't front load him, you're quite right. And geology is geology. The rules apply whatever planet you're on. So if the things aren't natural, they must be artificial. There's no other choice.
There was no time to waste. We arranged a meeting the next day with an independent scientific expert. Ron Nix is an engineering geologist. He's been analyzing desert formations for more than 30 years.
This needs an explanation. What have we got here?
We showed him the photos. We didn't tell him they were from Mars.
What are we looking at here?
You could be looking at the desert, but in my experience, I haven't seen anything that looks quite like that. Take a look at these crescent-shaped features. Do they not have a higher reflectance than the surrounding stuff? As if they're made out of material that's not the same as this?
This feature here,
the bright spot, clearly has a much higher reflectance than anything else in that image. And you can really see it. Maybe it's an engineered structure. When I try to explain it with the principles that I'm used to, it does not look natural to me.
Mars or not, Ron Nix would know a natural formation when he saw it. He said this wasn't natural.
Well, let me ask you the question. Where did you get these prints?
We were given these prints by somebody who has significant insider connections. We're told that it's on Mars from NASA originals.
I mean,
we're not trying to put you on this.
No, it's okay. It's fascinating, but it doesn't look natural to me.
Okay. Thank you.
So if the structures might not be natural, that meant they had to be engineered. But by whom? To answer that, we needed to talk to NASA watchdog and critic, Richard C. Hoagland. Hoagland said he'd meet with us, but we had to meet on his turf, the one place on Earth that most closely resembled Mars. So, Richard, what would explain these structures on Mars?
Well, not only could there be extraordinary ancient ruins, but we could be launching human missions to Mars.
Coming up, a thriving civilization on the red planet? Bombshell revelations from a Mars expert.
What you see here, I believe, is a buried transportation system.
Then, a NASA astronaut reveals shocking information about a secret Mars program.
I have had a history of being threatened. NASA tells you that you've got to play ball or else.
We just lost the connection.
And later, an eyewitness confirms the extraordinary capabilities of the triangular spacecraft.
This craft can reach Mars in 33 hours.
Kerry Cassidy and I have worked for years to disclose information the government is hiding about extraterrestrial contact. Now, we've gotten our hands on NASA photos showing possible evidence of engineered structures on Mars. To unravel the significance of these photos, we've come to the Arizona desert to meet with space science expert Richard Hoagland.
This is probably the closest analog to Mars you're going to find anywhere on Earth. This thing was formed, we think, about 50,000 years ago by an object coming in through this incredible Arizona sky, buried itself in the ground 1,000 feet down.
Hoagland is a former NASA consultant who claims NASA is covering up what it knows about life on Mars. He's uncovered what he believes to be photographic evidence of ancient ruins on Mars, anomalous structures, including a photo that appears to show a giant face on the surface of the planet.
I've been looking at photographs taken by NASA, by the Soviets, for almost 30 years.
If anyone could tell us what we're looking at, it would be him. So, Richard, what would explain these structures on Mars?
If you actually look at this, it looks like it's ruins being eroded out of these sand dunes. What you see here, I believe, is a buried transportation system.
Okay, you know this because you're in touch with people from inside NASA?
Of course. There are people leaking like crazy. There were people that were leaking in the beginning of the Apollo program, and we found little clues buried in that database, which now confirm what we have discovered. You cannot ignore the actual science. I mean, look here. This is a Mariner 9 picture.
Hoagland had brought some intriguing NASA photos of his own.
This is the infamous face on Mars. It was photographed by Viking in 1976. But what the officials say is that it's all tricks of light and shadow. Nothing there. But it's not a trick of light and shadow. And we know that now because we have data after data after data with multiple angles, multiple lighting. It's not a trick. There's no doubt in my mind it's a statue. But because most people are authority-driven, they take the voice of their experts over their own eyes.
So your watchword is take a look for yourself. That's what you want to tell me. Take a look
what
for
else
yourself.
do you have there?
These are the pyramids located just to the west on this face on Mars. You can see there's this incredible precise geometry. There's no doubt this was a huge, mile-wide, 5-sided pyramid. These guys, who I think were our ancestors, built big.
Hoagland had an even more shocking story to tell. He said that back when he was a network television science consultant, he was inside a NASA control room when the first Mars space probe touched down.
When Viking landed in 1976, I'm standing there looking at a monitor with Carl Sagan. Carl is on my left, some NBC guys are on my right, and we're looking at this first color image come in, downlink, live from Mars, and it looks like Arizona.
I saw some of the pictures and said it's a clear resolution.
Well, Mr. President, right now, all we're seeing is a landscape with maybe blue sky in the distance.
Then, a few hours later, the head guys sent technicians around to tweak the red knobs on all the monitors in the entire lab. certain individuals have the political power to keep all of us in the dark about our heritage. They started in 1976 by changing the color of Mars so it would never really look like what it is, which is apparently a lot like Arizona.
An error was made. The Martian sky, the scientists now say, is pinkish.
This is the first color picture of the Viking 2 landing site, proving that this area of Mars is red, just as the Viking 1 site was.
So this corresponds to the real Mars. Look at the sky. It's not pink, it's baby blue.
So NASA had gone to great lengths to hide the fact that Mars' atmosphere is similar to our own, able to support life.
If someone's painting the sky,
they all had to be in on it.
And that would point to an even bigger Mars cover-up.
Is it possible they've already been there but haven't told us?
That's part of what we call the secret space program.
What's your personal view about that?
A, it exists. B, they know a hell of a lot more than we know through NASA. And C, there's cover-up after cover-up after cover-up, not only in the NASA area, but in every area.
Hoagland had shown us evidence of life on Mars and of NASA's attempts to suppress it.
He's been tracking this for how, 37 years?
he has watched the cover-up step by step with his own eyes. That's what's amazing.
He was there in the control center when the original images, but he was there and he saw the color of the sky, and then they changed them a couple of hours later.
That's amazing.
But did this cover-up extend to secretly sending men to Mars? We needed another look at some recent history.
What we did have back in the 60s were a manned mission to Mars being planned and then scrapped, right?
Yep.
We began where the public record leaves off, a 1967 NASA program to send men to Mars. Astronaut Brian O'Leary was selected to be on the first flight, but when the program was abruptly cancelled the following year, he hung up his spacesuit and quit. We found O'Leary had moved to South America. He seemed nervous about talking, but we managed to persuade him to speak with us via Skype.
Hi, Brian.
We wanted to find out if Mars was the reason he'd left his country behind.
It was in '67, was it, that you joined up with NASA for their Mars mission program?
Yes, I was specifically appointed to go to Mars, and the mission was to have taken place in the 1980s. But history got rewritten in 1968. The Johnson Space Center announced that these Mars missions would be canceled.
But your interest in Mars has continued.
Oh, absolutely. The fact is, there may have been a civilization there once that was, well, basically was wiped out. NASA was covering up quite a bit. In the past, Mars was certainly more Earth-like. There was liquid water there. We see the erosional features, dried up riverbeds, lakes. We may be looking at our own future by looking at Mars.
Is there a reason why you're in Ecuador that might be linked to the cover-up?
Yes, there are a number of reasons. NASA tells you that you've got to play ball with their worldview, or else. They basically excommunicated me. And I have had a history of being threatened, and many of the people who did try to do me in are still around. Prudence suggests that we just move here.
Do you think that the secrecy extends to an alternative space program, that we have been to Mars but we're not being told about it?
Well, reports suggest the answer to that might be yes. There are all kinds of secrets that are being held from us, such as
Brian? We just lost the connection.
Coming up, Bill and Carrie learn about a secret program to acquire alien technology.
Apparently they had an original seat from a UFO.
Then, jump rooms to Mars. The Mars traveler shows where he took off.
The United States government has had operational teleportation capability since 1967.
And later, the team seeks answers in the remote desert and ends up in a dangerous situation.
Get the cameras out of here now.
Former astronaut Brian O'Leary may have been about to confirm that the Mars program had continued in secret as a black shadow operation.
There are all kinds of secrets that are being held from us, such as
Brian? We just lost the connection.
And then, suddenly, the transmission went dead. Were we getting too close to the truth?
The Mars witnesses are really in fear for their lives, like Brian O'Leary. We're talking about something so hot.
My provisional conclusion is that there's something very significant about Mars that they don't want us to know about. If they really have been on Mars since the 1980s or even earlier, then what an incredible story to share with the whole human race. Why keep it secret?
We decided to reach out to David Wilcock, a writer and researcher into UFOs and ancient civilizations, who has inside information about the possibility of a secret Mars program. Among his contacts are insiders directly involved with the so-called Montauk Project, a secret program researching the very nature of space-time.
Phase 1 began, I guess, in the early 1960s. Apparently what had happened was that they had an original seat from a UFO. The UFO had crashed, and they had taken the seat out, and then they had figured out how to set it up to a power supply. All the energy that's in the chair, that's focused by the operator's mind, is then sent into this antenna. And there's this sort of shimmering area, and then you actually go to wherever the person in the chair thinks about. So if he thinks about somewhere, then there will be a portal that opens up that actually goes there.
It sounded like Wilcock was talking about space travel through teleportation. I asked him where he'd gotten this information.
An insider witness I've spoken to, I call Daniel.
And he was telling you this was all real?
Absolutely. He was an Air Force captain. He had a background in physics and engineering.
But was he saying that they used the chair to travel to Mars? Is this what you're saying?
Yeah. Daniel said that there was a mission to Mars and that they actually found ancient bases and that they're very extensive underground.
Extensive ancient bases?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're talking hundreds of thousands of years old. You're looking at this dry, dead, red planet that at one time apparently was a civilization just like ours.
Yeah, what happened to the ocean?
Where did the oceans go?
Well, that gets into Richard saying that the sky is not orangish, it's blue on Mars. So there must be atmosphere, right?
Yeah, Mars was like the Earth.
Can we talk to Daniel?
He's very fearful. Daniel's in hiding. He doesn't even want to be in the public eye because he signed a contract that authorized lethal force in the event that he ever told any of this stuff to anyone. Could be his death sentence.
If we can't talk to Daniel, who do we talk to?
Andy Bisaggio claimed to have been to Mars, and Bisaggio might be the real deal.
David's story was incredible. Could a secret government space program really be teleporting people to Mars? We needed to speak to someone who had first-hand knowledge of this.
So, Andy, where are we going now? Can you direct us?
We're going down south on Sepulveda here to Imperial.
Andrew Bisaggio is a Cambridge University-educated researcher and lawyer. He claims he was part of a program called Project Pegasus, a program that conducted experiments in teleportation.
It was being carried out as a black project of the CIA.
Bisaggio led us to a building near the Los Angeles airport, where he said the experiments took place.
It's this building right here. There's been a major facelift to the building.
I must say, this is not what I was expecting. So the big picture here.
The United States government has had operational teleportation capability in which somebody can literally jump through a tunnel in the time-space continuum uninjured, well, since 1967, 68.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how do you know this?
I took 2 trips to Mars.
Coming up, is teleportation actually possible?
Teleportation does not violate the laws of physics.
Then, the investigators find the shocking evidence that blows the Mars cover-up wide open.
I don't think I'd ever forget that day.
And later, a dangerous face-off with Black Ops security.
Hey, camera low.
I must say, this is not what I was expecting.
Perry and I were face to face with a man who claimed to have been sent to Mars, but he didn't get there the way we'd expected.
I was 19, I was at UCLA. They put a CIA officer sort of in my life as a contact officer. I was asked if I wanted to go to Mars. I said, no, I don't want to go to Mars. And I finally said to him, why is it essential that I go? And he said, because the survival of the human race depends on it.
What has the CIA got to do with interplanetary travel? I mean, why is the CIA involved with this at all?
It was initiated under the United States Navy, ultimately organized around the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA. But the thrust of it was gathering intelligence for the Central Intelligence Agency. We were actually hiding teleportation from Soviet spies in one of our own defense labs during these years.
Do you know if the Russians have this technology?
I know that they were working on it. I know that we were several years ahead of them.
Interesting.
So maybe we weren't the only people teleporting to Mars. I asked him what was actually involved in getting there.
We would jump from a office building, a CIA facility in El Segundo, California, to an underground location on Mars. We went up to the 8th floor. Lights began flashing. The box that kind of morphed and crunched into a cylinder. And I could see this swirling pattern. The door opened in an underground base on Mars. It looked like perhaps an underground cavern that the Martians had been using, that we had sort of built an infrastructure inside of. I encountered 3 humans from Earth during the first trip. And then in the second trip, we walked out on the surface and walked for about a half a mile and encountered one of the personnel from the CIA.
But you're saying you walked out on the surface, so the surface air is breathable.
Well, on the first trip, I walked out wearing my respiration equipment. But when I took my helmet off, it was somewhat difficult to breathe, but I certainly didn't begin hyperventilating. I was able to breathe normally on the surface.
Where's the sky blue?
Yes, the sky on Mars is a pale baby blue. And the terrain isn't all rust red. I mean, it's predominantly rust red. I think the area on Earth that comes closest to what Mars looks like would probably be Sedona, Arizona.
Bishago's description of Mars seemed credible, but his method of getting there, that was harder to wrap our minds around.
If, say, you're teleporting from here to Mars, you've got a dynamic system that's moving around the solar system. Why do you pop out on Mars and nowhere else?
I'm a lawyer and a writer, not a technologist. The science of that, I can't answer that. But clearly some form of hyperdimensional physics was involved because of the fact that it did do that.
Since Andy couldn't explain the physics to us, we decided to speak to someone who could. Sean Carroll is a theoretical physicist, author, and university lecturer. He specializes in the Big Bang, dark energy, and extra dimensions. We reached out to him for some answers.
Well, we're investigative journalists, and we're investigating
hyperdimensional physics.
Okay. Now, one of the things that happens is that we have people coming to us, sort of a little bit off record. Some people would call them whistleblowers. And we have heard from multiple witnesses that macro-scale teleportation is an established technology. And is this plausible?
It may be plausible that someday we can do something resembling what you would call teleportation.
Is there investigation into teleportation at this time?
Sure, people are discussing something that we call teleportation. That's sort of the atom by atom level, yes.
But your point is that that's not transferable to the macro level. Is
certainly as a practical matter, it's not. But even as a matter
Sean Carroll said one form of teleportation on the micro level was taking place now. But that couldn't explain teleportation on the macro level, like sending a human being to Mars.
So you're saying that Scotty can't beam us up to us yet, right?
Maybe someday. You know, physicists always stress the difference between things that we don't know how to do and things that violate the laws of physics as we understand them. And teleportation does not violate the laws of physics. It's what physicists call an engineering problem. If only we could learn how to do it.
Sean Carroll had confirmed that teleportation was theoretically possible. I had one last question to ask him, one that might explain how it could be happening now. What if there was an extra dimension beyond the usual four of space and time?
Imagine that this concrete pathway here, this is four-dimensional space-time, which we live in every day. If there was a fifth-dimensional wraparound, some people call it hyperspace, some people call it subspace, what mathematically would prevent stepping into that space, moving in that space, which doesn't take time because time's over here, and then reappearing in a different location in the world line.
What we know is mathematically we can easily create scenarios just like that. But to do anything like move a macroscopic person into an extra dimension would require far more energy and far more technological capability than we have now or will have for the next couple centuries at least.
It would take us several centuries to develop this technology on our own. But what if we had help? What if we had a prototype to work from? One that had come from another planet.
Coming up, Bill and Carrie are on the verge of a major discovery.
There's several vehicles right here all of a sudden. Oh my God.
But will they make it past the Black Ops forces?
They're watching what we're doing. These guys are tracking us every inch of the way.
I have been investigating unexplained activities on Mars. We decided to talk to the highest level source we could find, Bob Dean. Only he could help us put the pieces of this puzzle together.
We really need your input.
Robert Dean is the ultimate government black ops insider, a former Army Command Sergeant Major. He obtained NATO's highest security level, Cosmic Top Secret, when he worked on a deep cover investigation into the potential threat of UFOs. We told him we'd been investigating evidence of strange activities on Mars.
We are getting a lot of information that there is a secret space program. There are shipments going to Mars, that there is a constant flow of even humans going to Mars, that there are underground bases and they have been there for quite some time. I mean, what is it you know about Mars, and can you confirm or deny the things that I'm telling you right now?
There has been an extraterrestrial presence on Mars for 100,000 years, for God's sake.
Why do you want to tell us this?
It's got to be brought out. The mass of people out there need to know what this is all about. There is a major ongoing facility on Mars right now.
What can you tell us about that?
There's a space facility which Mariner 9 photographed on the equator years and years ago, which NASA released accidentally, but then they denied they ever took the picture. I think it's a spaceport. I think probably it's where that gigantic triangular objects were photographed.
Gigantic triangular craft. Exactly what Gordon Lavelle had shown us.
We were told it's a craft that is possibly flying to Mars from a base in Utah.
Yes, underground base.
Interesting.
We go to Mars regularly. We go to the moon regularly.
How is that possible?
We're dealing with major extraterrestrial intelligence. We have science that we use every day that's over 100 years beyond what establishment science has any idea about.
Bob Dean was saying these spacecraft were using alien technology. Could that also explain teleportation?
Because we have been talking to Andy Bishago. Do you know who he is?
He was being teleported to Mars.
Yes.
Why keep it secret?
The technology, there is no word to describe the value of the technology. We have had anti-gravity and we have had zero-point energy for over 40 years. Infinite energy forever for nothing. But it's not to be shared, it's not to be even admitted. But the average guy out there who's paying for his air conditioning and buying gas for his old clunker does not have any idea.
Bob Dean was talking about the ultimate secret war, a race to control extraterrestrial technology, a resource so valuable that many of the world's most powerful forces are battling to control it.
Have you ever really looked at the evidence? No. There's a shadow government. It has its own army, its own air force, its own navy that is totally separate and beyond everything that goes on in Washington. They're sitting on the technology. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why I think you're playing with dynamite here.
Bob Dean's warning was ringing in our ears as Kerry and I set out to find the top-secret military installation in Utah, the one that could be hiding a launch pad to Mars. We'd arranged to meet Dave Rosenfeld a few miles from the edge of the base.
Dave?
He's a UFO investigator and an actual eyewitness to some extraordinary events in this area.
This whole area is what they call the Utah Testing Training Range.
Have you ever climbed the fence and gone over there at all?
Absolutely not.
What would happen? Any idea?
We probably have Apache helicopters on us within 5-10 minutes.
What is really going on here?
One night we were out here and we heard this crackling noise. And we could smell ozone in the air, like something burning. And then we seen just beyond this ridgeline here, this beam would shoot up. I mean, it was huge. Through the clouds, up into space. I mean, it was just massive.
Did you take pictures at any point of this beam?
Yes, if you wait here, I'll grab one for you.
Dave Rosenfeld's story was extraordinary. So was his evidence.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Through the clouds, I mean, it was just massive.
Rosenfeld's photos showed strange objects over the base, including a beam of light that cut deep into space.
That night, did you get in trouble for being out here?
Yes. I got confronted. These white SUVs block us in, and they get out. They're palming their pistols as they're walking up. Very, very intimidating. He says, well, I suggest you guys turn around and get out of here, because the people who follow us aren't as nice. They were trying to scare me to never come out here, or I don't think I'd ever forget that day.
Are you seeing any craft that are triangles, black triangles?
Yes. At night, I have seen triangular craft flying back and forth. One of the contractors I met works on a craft called the Venture Star.
What is the Venture Star?
The Venture Star is a craft that can take people up into space. He says that this craft can reach Mars in 33 hours.
Then we showed him the photo that started us on this quest.
Have you seen that before?
That looks like the Venture Star to me.
Dave, do you think that craft could be based here?
Yes, I think that the southern runway is one runway that could handle this type of craft.
Can you take us out to this place that you've been talking about?
I try to stay away from that area. I can show you on a map where it's at, but...
You're really, like, afraid of what will happen if you...
I've had too many, close calls with them.
And Dave warned us that we would, too.
As soon as you jump out of your truck and start filming, 5 minutes, you're going to get confronted.
But we wanted answers. There was no turning back.
Right here.
Everything in our investigation had led to this. All the clues pointed to the existence of a shadow space program, one that was using extraterrestrial technology to send humans to Mars. We set out the next morning to find the runway Dave told us about. We hoped to get photographic evidence of the Venture Star. We were miles from the base when we noticed something in the desert. Something that made us realize we were not alone.
Look at that. Focus on the ridge.
Yeah.
And sweep across slowly to the right.
That's that dust thing right there. That's a car riding on the dust, right?
Correct. That's how you tell when a Humvee is coming towards you at 60 miles an hour across the desert.
Look, there's several vehicles right here all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Look, did they just turn around?
Oh, my God.
We're already on their radar. They're watching what we're doing. These guys are tracking us every inch of the way. They do that.
What are we going to do now?
Well, there's only one way out of here.
Time was running out, but we had to press on. We were so close now that we didn't want to give up. And then, there it was.
See what I see?
Well, I think there's a runway coming out through those ridges right there. It's cleared ground, and it's straight as an arrow.
There was no mistake. It looked like a runway. This could be the landing strip for the Venture Star.
Let's go down further.
We told the camera crew to be prepared for the worst.
Guys, what my suggestion would be is if you're stopped, don't give them the real cards, don't give them anything that we're actually going to need. Give them the stuff from the test shoot that we did the other day. We don't need it.
Despite the risks, we needed to get to that ridge. We were closer than ever to getting evidence of the secret Mars program.
Okay, so there's the ridge.
We're very, very close.
Let's not go all the way over it. Let's stay hidden.
I'm not sure how much further I can go here. Jeez. Look what we got here. End of the road.
Suddenly, we had company. Military security.
Yeah, they look pretty serious. Now I'm actually concerned.
You should be. You should be.
Let's talk to them.
Ma'am, back in the car. Get those cameras out of here. Get those out of here.
Camera alone. Hey.
You guys need to get in the car now. In the car. Hey, turn that camera off. This is a
Can you tell us?
area. Get those cameras out of here.
The camera.
Kerry Cassidy and I were in the Utah desert. We'd finally found the highly secretive and highly protected military facility we'd been looking for. If our sources were right, this was the site of secret Mars activity. Interplanetary spacecraft, unusual runways, top-secret underground bases, perhaps even jump rooms to Mars. But suddenly, we were surrounded by security forces.
Look what we got here. Can you tell us?
Hey, get those cameras out of here.
Hey, leave the camera alone. Hey.
Back in your car now.
Yeah, so worried about
You guys need to get in your car now. Get the cameras out of here now. Leave immediately.
We do need to have some authorization.
The cameras are off. The cameras are off.
Leave now or get arrested.
Come on. They've told us everything we need to know. Now we know where we are, Kerry. That's all right. People don't behave like that for no reason. They wanted us out of there now. They wouldn't answer any questions. They didn't even tell us whether they were reporting to the military. They didn't have any insignias on their clothing or their car.
There's something going on there they don't want people to see, and they were there to prevent us from going any further.
They came at us at exactly the right spot, just that little ridge.
We get run off the place, and that's enough to tell us that there's something worth hiding. What we're really talking about is Mars, and what this investigation has revealed.
Brian O'Leary told us that when we're looking at Mars, we may be looking at the future of planet Earth. But there's something about Mars which is not just focused on our potential future, but it seems to be linked to our past.
There has been an extraterrestrial presence on Mars for 100,000 years.
We've got craft going back and forth that's using some kind of special technology.
I have seen triangular craft flying back and forth.
When they're taking lots of people in cargo, they obviously have to use a ship.
We go to Mars regularly.
If they have an individual, they can go into a jump room.
We would jump from a office building to an underground location on Mars.
What we've got is a range of puzzle pieces, and some of them fit and some of them don't fit. But the ones that don't fit are so interesting that we can't throw them away.
We have a shadow government that is totally separate and beyond everything that goes on in Washington.
What is the reason for the secrecy?
There is a war going on here on Earth that is an unseen war.
The idea of going to Mars, the idea of teleporting to Mars, the idea of having an advanced spacecraft, why not share that with the world? There's got to be an answer to that question. And the answer to that question has to be so important that none of us are permitted to know.